We will hear next from Kun Paron, but before that, I received an email last night from someone we might know, and it's an email from people who are closest to Seymour. I had sent him an email through the people who are taking care of him, of course, telling him about what we're doing this week, and asked if he wanted to be part of it by saying something. And this is a message that was composed by people who knew him the best and knew very well his work that he has done in Thailand. There's also a recent picture of him that he sent yesterday through the email. It was taken very recently. So he's living in Maine right now, and here's his message. I am very happy to say hello at the start of this wonderful conference. I have such strong memories of my times in Thailand and the teachers and children I've met in projects from all over the country. Of course, there's a very soft spot in my heart for Kun Paron and so many other people who have dedicated themselves to the constructionist process and philosophy. I know that there are many of my friends and colleagues there this week, and I wish everyone a marvelous exchange of ideas, inspiration for new and expanded projects, and best of all, a lot of fun. The thought of you all there working together makes me very happy. Enjoy. Seymour.
I would like to invite everyone to join one of our activities, which will be outside. I call them Dear Seymour Corner, which is you can write a card to him. The story is that I sent him a postcard on his birthday about 2 years ago, and his nurse wrote back an email saying that he kept reading the cards on, and that's very good for him to be, happy and practice. He has to go to the speech therapist. So this is a good opportunity. You can write him your message from your heart, and then I will be sending all these cards to him on his birthday this month. Okay, so it's in front of this room.
Okay, so Kun Paron, or Mr. Paron Israsena, as you may know, is the leader of the Constructionism movement in Thailand. He received a master's degree in mechanical engineering from MIT in 1954. He then held high-level managerial positions in large petrochemical and construction material companies in Thailand. This includes being the CEO of the Siam Cement Group, which is Thailand's largest industrial conglomerate. After his retirement, he dedicated himself to education. He has adopted both a bottom-up and a top-down approach. He has created concrete examples of constructionist learning in schools, rural communities, and industries. At the same time, he has influenced Thailand's National Education Act to become extremely compatible with constructionism. It is not unusual for him to meet the Prime Minister in the morning and then join a teacher and student discussion at the school in the afternoon. Please welcome Mr. Paron Israsena.
Honorable guests, it is my great pleasure to speak in front of you this morning. But first, may I apologize that I will have to read through my speech. I am turning 89 this year, and I often cannot think of words in English as fluently as I used to. I hope you can forgive me. Today, I want to give you my perspective of our 20 years of trying to understand and implement constructionism here in Thailand. It all started in 1996 when a group of retired MIT alumni, including myself, got together to discuss our experiences in high-profile positions such as Royal Privy Councillor, ministers, permanent secretaries of ministry, CEO of large businesses, industrial and financial conglomerates. Despite our diverse experience, we all agree that best way to increase the country's quality of life and competency is through education reform. The group later formed a foundation which His Majesty the King later graciously bestowed the name Suksapat Foundation. I was assigned by committee to figure out how MIT can help in our work, and that is how we started our collaboration with Professor Seymour Papert. The project was named Lighthouse. Papert was excited about this project. I invited him and his team from the MIT Media Lab to Thailand. He visited a number of schools and technical colleges, but Papert did not think it was a good idea to start with the formal education because curriculum is like a straitjacket. He looked for something with more flexibility and found out about Thailand non-formal education track. It was a system meant mostly for adult education and underprivileged children. How teaching takes place was loosely defined. A site in Chiang Rai province was identified. We established computer labs and started working with students, creating projects using microwave logo, digital photography, and journalism, and some robotics. The work expanded to All Hill Tribe School near Myanmar border, another non-formal education site in Lampang, a public school in Chiang Mai, a British-style boarding school in Bangkok, and a community development center in Buriram. The initial result was positive, and the results were published in a number of articles and dissertations at MIT. The official MIT collaboration faded in around the year 2000, keeping the project alive in many locations were challenging. Just like how life is for couples after the honeymoon, some sites divorced us. This happened for many reasons, but two were the most common. The first was the change of management. When a new school principal arrived, our initiative depends greatly on his opinion. Secondly, teachers in our program often succumb to the traditional shock and talk school culture. The main lesson from this experience was that for any initiative to sustain, you need at least one person who has passion and influence. This is actually not new to me. Before my retirement, I was the CEO of the Siam Cement Group, which is Thailand's largest industrial conglomerate. That position truly showed me how people is the most valuable asset of any organization, large or small. A good example is Ban Samkha village in the northern Thailand, which some of you will be visiting this weekend after the conference. The work there started by teacher Sinuan, who is a teacher just by chance. She participated in one of the workshops we conducted. She was fascinated with the idea and asked Dr. Suchin, who is one of our main facilitators, to help expand this work at her school in the village. Teacher Sinuan, with the help of Dr. Suchin, focused on using technology to solve real problems in village. One example is the household accounting project. Keeping an account book is an important component in the village debt relief program. Students would help their parents log their income and spending using Excel. It is meaningful mathematics for students, and it helps many parents who can't read or write very well. Another is the check dam project, where students build small dams blocking streams on the mountain in order to maintain more water for the village during the dry season. They got the idea from the field trip to one of the royal projects initiated by His Majesty the King in Chiang Mai. Satellite maps and GPS were used to plan where to construct and maintain the dams. It is useful geography for students and benefit the whole village. The project has been adopted by the village, and there are now more than 10,000 check dams built. The work at Ban Samkha has been going on for more than 16 years. How is that possible? Teacher Sinuan seeded the work there. Her husband was a well-respected member of the community. He soon became involved and helped Ajahn Sinuan to expand the work beyond the school wall. The project themselves were also relevant to local context, although it did not involve local or much programming. The core idea of Constructionism was there. The villager took a long time to appreciate the learning process. The village head recently told me that when I first visit them, I told them that I bring them no money, only wisdom. He told me how disappointed they were. Wisdom is fine, but money is better. It took them 10 years to finally understand. He said, our quality of life is much better now because of that wisdom. Now, Teacher Sinuan's daughter, Nok, is running a modern constructionism lab built in 2012 at the village. The lab is a learning center for primary students. Recently, they have been learning English by having face-to-face conversation with other students in Australia, USA, and Japan. At another village in Buriram was started our work with a community-based integrated rural development center, or CBIRD, out of many villages that we work with. Only Nanoi became truly engaged. Nanoi was a poor farmer living in one of the country's driest and poorest area. She went to only 4th grade in school. At the time, she was overwhelmed with debt. After spending more than a year working with my colleague, Mr. Bangkok, who is an MIT graduate, Nanoi and her children learned how to do household accounting. They started off using paper and pencil, but later used a computer. Her family has remarkably ridden themselves from debt. She spread her wisdom and has now influenced many others in her own and other villages with support from the foundation. She now runs a community of computer lab and has undertaken many development projects that have improved the livelihood of her community. This is worth noting that teacher Sinuan and Nanoi have both received an honorary degree in community development and in agriculture from well-known, well-respected university. Let me get back to school. After the MIT collaboration had faded, we decided to work more with schools. We learned the hard way how difficult that is and why Pepper felt hesitant. We discovered that most schools were more interested in getting computers than the learning philosophy. As soon as a school principal heard that we would put computers in classroom, he or she would immediately say the school wanted to try Constructionism. It is not hard to guess how things did not work out for too long. Ban Sang Kampang Primary School in Chiang Mai is one exception. They have worked with us since 1999. What is different about this school? First, there were a small group of teachers who became genuinely engaged. Second, also, we aim for big changes. We start very small. Teacher Sopapan is a 3rd grade teacher. Her class was the school pilot. Once results were positive, the school gradually expanded the approach to one classroom in each grade level. This vertical column served as an inspiration for other classes in the school. I believe it is important to aim for changes in the macro level, but it is crucial to start at the micro level. This creates concrete evidence that can later inspire larger changes. Now every classroom in Ban Sang Kampang School has implemented a constructionist approach, some more than others. This think macro, do micro approach was established by His Majesty the King of Thailand. I personally think Pepper would call this a powerful idea. You can try to create change by ordering people or by creating a situation that forces them to change. But to truly create change, you need to inspire people. I believe concrete examples are very inspirational. Of course, there are other problems to solve as well, but inspiration is still an important key. Teacher Sopapan has received an Innovative Teachers Leadership Award in 2004. The award was given to her by Bill Gates. Productive improvement by learning is another area that constructionism has flourished in Thailand. In 2002, when I became president of the University Council of King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, this university, I tried to convince the university to change and become more innovative in their educational approaches. But I have learned that universities are the hardest group to work with. They may agree with the idea, but implementing them is a whole different story. Sorry for the professor here. I ended up proposing to King Mongkut University Council to set up a small campus in an industrial estate in Rayong province. It was where my former company, the Siam Cement Group, had just established a multi-billion petrochemical plant. They were having trouble finding enough engineers to administer the technical operators, who in turn run the plant during night shift. But the real problem was that they were relying too much on the engineer to do the thinking parts. A joint program with King Mongkut University was then established called C-SHAPES, or Constructionism Chemical Engineering Practice School. The goal was to create problem solvers and innovators. Participants came from many petrochemical units of Siam Cement Group. Among other things, the course include local programming and legal robotics, but was done mostly to put the learner in an unfamiliar situation and use the experience to talk about learning how to learn, problem solving, and project-based learning. There was also an emphasis on mindfulness meditation. Over the past 13 years, more than 250 technicians have graduated from the program. The changes in mindset has saved the operation cost of petrochemical unit of Siam Cement Group more than 1 billion baht, or 30 million US dollars. This approach has spread to the other industry under the Siam Cement Group, including pulp and paper, cement, and construction material distribution. The wholesale and retail sale of construction material, in particular, has more than doubled their revenue within 5 years because of the constructionism marketing approach. I am sorry, I don't have enough time to elaborate on all these projects, but we have brought everyone I have mentioned in my speech here this week. You will have a chance to see and talk to them during our open house this afternoon. I think you can tell by now that I am not like Seymour Papert. I have never invented a programming languages and come up with grand theory. But as a person who has spent most of my retirement years trying to improve education in Thailand, I have a few practical observations that I think can complement Papert. First, if you really want to make change in schools, good idea is not enough. You have to manage it well too. Managing a constructionism pilot in a traditional school setting is not an easy task. It often means you have to get the school principal on board. You have to deal with parents and skeptical teachers. I have to confess that being the principal of the Runsikalai school is so much harder than being the CEO of the Siam Cement Group with 24,000 employees. With only 105 students, 23 Thai facilitators, and 7 English native speakers. Second, skeptics often ask me that if constructionism is good, why hasn't it spread to every school? This is especially true with policymakers. They are plagued with the idea of mass production, and they all exhibit NES, not enough time syndrome. Any good pilot is worthless to them if it cannot be scaled up and be done by tomorrow. But the reality is that you can't easily replicate the dynamics of a constructionist environment. Each place has its own socio-culture setting. This is not about mass production. It is mass customization. I have spent quite some time preparing this talk by thinking about what would be useful to you, but perhaps you can help me as well. I have recently been invited to hold 3 important national positions. First, I am a member of the Super Board of the Competitiveness Development Committee, headed by the Prime Minister. Second, I was appointed to be chairman of the Agency of National Human Resource Development. Third, I am a chairman of the Board of National Economic and Social Development. My main goal is accepting these positions is to come up with strategy and a roadmap that could facilitate gradual scale up of constructionist learning to our walk of life. I am being strongly pushed by the Prime Minister. This could be my ultimate contribution. What would you do if you were given this opportunity? Please let me know if you have any thought. Lastly, on behalf of the host and the organizing team, I hope this conference will be productive and that hosting it in Thailand will lead to new area of interest and new direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kun Paron. So we will, before we take a break, we have a photo session. Sorry, this is a Thai tradition, we have to do it. We don't have enough space on stage for everyone, so I'm forced to invite the program committee. So if you're on the committee, James, Gerald, Ivan, Anna, Richard, Paulo, and if you're a plenary speaker, so Leda, Jose Villante, Brian Harvey, Cynthia, and our keynote speakers today, of course, and representatives of the Ministry of Science and Technology, King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, Chiang Mai University, and the Darun Sikhalai School. Would you please present yourselves on stage so we can take a nice photo, create good memories? Please.